My girlfriend said you are too immature for a serious relationship if you cannot accept this. After another overnight at her friend place, she thinks it is totally fine to sleep over at her male friends' houses, but completely blew up when I needed to crash at a female coworker's place. The double standard is driving me insane. Alright, Reddit. I need some reality checks here because I am starting to feel like I am going crazy. I am Ryan, 28. Been an accountant for about 6 years now at a mid-sized firm downtown. Not the most exciting job, but it pays the bills and I actually like the work. Numbers make sense. People usually don't been dating Ashley for about a year and 8 months. She is 26, works as a social media coordinator for some tech startup, super outgoing, and honestly way more social than I am. I am more of a stay in and watch Netflix kind of guy, while she has always got some event or party or hangout happening, which is cool. I knew what I was getting into, but here is where things get weird. Ashley has this habit of sleeping over at her guy friends' places pretty regularly, like at least once or twice a month, sometimes more. Usually it is after parties or when she has been out drinking with friends and claims she is too tired to Uber home safely. The main place she crashes is at this dude Derek's apartment. Derek's 27, single, works in marketing for some company downtown. Ashley always talks about how they have been super close friends since sophomore year of college, and how he is basically like a brother to her. I have never actually met the guy though, which I thought was weird, but Ashley always had some excuse. He was out of town, or busy with work, or it would be awkward to have me tag along to their hangouts. When I first brought up that her sleeping over at guys' places made me uncomfortable, Ashley immediately got defensive about it. Derek's basically family to me, Ryan, she said with this tone like I was being ridiculous. We have been friends for like 6 years. If you cannot trust me, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. She also threw in some stuff about how she wasn't one of those girls who gets jealous about her boyfriend having female friends, and how modern relationships require trust and maturity. Made me feel like I was being some old-fashioned controlling boyfriend for even bringing it up, so I tried to be cool about it. I mean, I do trust Ashley, and I didn't want to be that insecure guy who cannot handle his girlfriend having male friends. I worked on just dealing with the discomfort and telling myself this was normal. But then last month something happened that really highlighted the double standard. My coworker Emma, who I have been working with for about a year and a half on the Morrison Industries account, invited a bunch of us from the office over for a game night at her place. Emma's 29, married to a really nice guy named Tom, and they have 2 young kids. She has always been super professional and friendly. We work well together on projects, and I would consider her a good work friend. The game night was really fun. We played some board games, had a few drinks, talked about work stuff and life in general. It went pretty late though, probably until around 2 a.m. Emma lives about 10 minutes from our office, while I live about 45 minutes in the opposite direction. Since we had early client meetings the next morning, Emma offered to let me crash on her couch. Seriously, it makes way more sense than you driving all the way home just to turn around and come right back in like 5 hours, she said. Made total sense to me. I texted Ashley to let her know the plan, and her response was immediate and intense. She called me within like 2 minutes and I could tell she was pissed. Absolutely not, she said right off the bat. You are not sleeping at another woman's house, Ryan. That is completely inappropriate. I was honestly shocked by how strong her reaction was. Ashley, this is literally the same situation as when you sleep at Derek's place. I pointed out. No, it is not. She shot back immediately. Derek and I have been friends for years. This Emma person is basically a stranger. We have worked together for over a year, I said. We are on the same account team. We talk every day. That is completely different, and you know it, Ashley continued. My friends respect that I am in a relationship and respect boundaries, but I don't know this woman or what her intentions might be toward you. I reminded her that Emma's married with kids. Ashley's response was married people cheat too, Ryan. And even if she doesn't try anything, it is still inappropriate for you to be sleeping in her house. The conversation went in circles for like 20 minutes. Ashley kept insisting it was different when she did it because her friends were real friends she had known for years, while Emma was just a coworker who might have ulterior motives. She also said that if I really cared about her feelings, I wouldn't even consider doing something that made her uncomfortable. Eventually, I gave up arguing and drove the 45 minutes home at 2 a.m., then had to wake up at 6:30 to drive back for our 8 a.m. meeting. Ashley seemed totally satisfied that she had won the argument and never acknowledged that this created a double standard. This whole thing has been eating at me for weeks now. Am I crazy for thinking this is unfair? Like either sleeping over at friends' places is okay for both of us, or it is not okay for either of us, right? I cannot figure out how Ashley doesn't see the hypocrisy here. The thing that really gets me is how confident she was that her situation was totally different. Like she genuinely seemed to believe that there is some logical distinction between her sleeping at Derek's and me sleeping at Emma's. Even though when I try to pin down what that distinction actually is, her explanations don't make sense. Update 1. So I decided to try one more time to talk this through with Ashley. I waited until we were both in a good mood on a Sunday afternoon and brought it up as calmly as I could. Hey, I have been thinking more about the whole sleeping over discussion we had. I am genuinely trying to understand your perspective here. Can you help me figure out what makes it appropriate when you stay at Derek's but not when I might need to stay at Emma's? I could literally see Ashley's mood shift. She got this look on her face, like I was bringing up something we had already settled. Ryan, I thought we already went through this, she said with a slight eye roll. I explained the difference to you. I know you explained it, I said, but I am still not clear on what specifically makes the situations different. Is it the length of the friendship, the gender, something else? There was this long pause where she was clearly trying to figure out how to explain her position without it sounding unreasonable. Look, it is complicated, she finally said. Derek and my other guy friends have known me since college. They know I am in a relationship, they respect boundaries, and they have never given me any reason not to trust them. Okay, I said, and you don't think Emma would respect boundaries? I don't know Emma well enough to be comfortable with that, Ashley replied. She is someone you work with, but I don't know her personally, or what her intentions might be. So I asked what I thought was the key question. What if I had a female friend from college that I had known for years? Would it be okay for me to sleep over at her place since we would have that same long history you talk about with Derek? Ashley went quiet for almost a full minute. I could see her trying to work through the logic without contradicting herself. This isn't really about logic, Ryan, she eventually said. It is about what feels right to me as your girlfriend. And you sleeping at another woman's house doesn't feel right. I get that feelings aren't always logical, I said. But in a relationship, shouldn't both people's feelings matter equally? How do you think I feel when you sleep at Derek's place? This is where the conversation took a turn that really surprised me. That is different because I am not attracted to Derek, Ashley said, matter-of-factly. But you might be attracted to Emma. I stared at her for a second. How could you possibly know whether I am attracted to Emma or not? I have to trust your word about Derek, just like you should trust mine about Emma. Ashley got visibly frustrated. God, Ryan, why are you making this so difficult? Most boyfriends would be grateful to have a girlfriend who is not possessive and jealous like other women. The irony was incredible. She was literally describing the exact behavior she was exhibiting toward me. So you get to sleep at guys' houses because you are not possessive and jealous, I said slowly. But I cannot sleep at a woman's house because that would make you possessive and jealous. Ashley looked at me like I was being deliberately obtuse. It is not the same thing. How is it not the same thing? I asked. She stood up from the couch, clearly done with the conversation. Look, if you cannot accept this one simple boundary, maybe you need to think about whether you are mature enough for a serious relationship. That hit me wrong. One simple boundary. Ashley, you are asking me to follow a rule that you don't follow yourself. How is that mature? Because I have earned the trust to have these friendships, she said. I have been friends with these guys for years without anything inappropriate happening. You haven't earned that same level of trust yet. The conversation ended with Ashley walking away, leaving me sitting there trying to figure out how asking for equal treatment had somehow become evidence that I wasn't ready for a serious relationship. But here is the thing that really bothered me afterward. Later that night, Ashley was texting someone and being weird about it. Like angling her phone away from me, putting it face down quickly when I walked by. That kind of stuff. When I casually asked who she was texting, she got defensive. Just Derek, she said quickly. He is going through some stuff at work and needed someone to talk to. When I asked what kind of work stuff, she was vague. Just office drama, nothing important. But she kept texting throughout the evening, and every time I came near, she would hide the screen. Maybe I am reading too much into it, but it felt off. The whole thing has me questioning whether this is really just about different comfort levels with friendships, or if there is something else going on that Ashley isn't telling me. Update 2. This street story took a turn I wasn't expecting, but honestly it explains a lot. 2.5 weeks ago, my older sister Jessica was downtown for a work networking event. She is 31, works in marketing for a different company, and has always been pretty protective of me but also brutally honest when I am being stupid about something. Around 11:30 p.m., Jess texted me, "Hey, is Ashley supposed to be on a date with some random guy right now? Because I am looking at her through the window of Murphy's bar and she is definitely not acting like someone who has a boyfriend." My stomach immediately dropped. I called Jessica right away. "Okay, so I didn't want to be that sister who causes drama," Jess said, "but I have been watching them for like 10 minutes, and Ryan, they are not acting like just friends. They are holding hands across the table." He has got his arm around her waist, and when they got up to go to the bar just now, he kissed her cheek in a way that did not look platonic at all. I asked her to describe the guy, already knowing what she was going to say. "Tall, probably late 20s, brown hair, wearing a gray button-down," Jessica said. "They look really comfortable together. Like this isn't the first time they have been out like this?" Derek. Obviously Derek. I thanked Jess for telling me and spent the rest of the night figuring out how to handle this. I didn't want to immediately accuse Ashley of cheating based on one observation, so I decided to give her a chance to explain. The next evening, I brought it up as casually as I could. "Hey, Jess mentioned she saw you downtown last night. How was your evening?" Ashley's immediate reaction was to go on the attack. "Your sister has had a problem with me since the day she met me," she said quickly. "She has probably been looking for an excuse to cause trouble because she doesn't think I am good enough for her precious little brother." I noticed that Ashley didn't deny being with Derek or even act surprised that Jessica had seen her. She went straight to discrediting the witness. "Jess wasn't trying to cause trouble," I said. "She was concerned because she saw you acting affectionately with another man. Can you explain what happened?" Ashley took just a beat too long before answering. "Derek's been going through some really difficult stuff at work," she said. "His boss has been giving him a hard time and he has been stressed about possibly losing his job. We went to Murphy's so he could vent about it, and yeah, he was a little more physically affectionate than usual because he had been drinking and was emotional." "So you were holding hands?" I asked directly. "If we held hands for a few minutes while he was telling me about his problems?" "So what?" Ashley said, her voice getting louder. "We are close friends. Physical comfort doesn't automatically mean something romantic is happening." I looked at her sitting there, completely confident in her ability to explain away behavior that she would never accept from me. "Ashley," I said, "you have told me that I cannot even sleep in the same house as a married female friend because it would be inappropriate. But you can hold hands with Derek in public and that is just friendship? Those situations are completely different." "Ryan," she replied, without even hesitating. "Derek was upset and needed emotional support. Emma was just offering you a place to crash." "How are they different?" I asked. "Because Derek and I have years of history and established boundaries," Ashley said. "If you cannot understand the difference between comforting a longtime friend and putting yourself in a potentially compromising situation with a coworker, then maybe you are not as emotionally mature as I thought you were." That is when I realized this conversation was never going to go anywhere productive. Ashley was always going to find reasons why her behavior was acceptable while mine was suspect. I cannot continue in a relationship where we have completely different standards for the same behavior, I told her. Ashley actually laughed. "You are seriously going to break up with me because your sister thinks she saw something inappropriate. This is exactly the kind of insecurity Derek always said you had." And there it was, the thing that confirmed what I had suspected all along. "Derek talks about my supposed insecurity," I asked. "He is just looking out for me," Ashley said. Apparently not realizing what she had just revealed, he thinks you are too controlling, and that I deserve someone who trusts me. So Derek, who I have never met, has been discussing our relationship problems with Ashley, and giving her advice about how I am not good enough for her. The same Derek whose emotional needs apparently require my girlfriend to hold hands with him in public. I looked at Ashley sitting there, totally confident that she could justify any behavior while holding me to standards she would never accept for herself, and I finally understood what I had to do. "You know what, Ashley?" I said. "Derek and I actually agree on something for once. I am not the right guy for someone who thinks different rules should apply to different people in the same relationship." Ashley's confident expression wavered for just a second, like maybe she was starting to realize I was serious. But then she doubled down. "Fine," she said. "You are too insecure and controlling anyway. Derek always said you weren't right for me and I should have listened to him sooner. That was it." I told Ashley I would be staying at my friend Brad's place while I figured out next steps and started packing a bag. She didn't try to stop me or ask me to reconsider, just sat on the couch scrolling through her phone, probably texting Derek about how she was finally free of her controlling boyfriend. The breakup was surprisingly clean after that. No begging, no promises to change, no dramatic scenes. She just kept saying I was too immature to handle her having close male friendships. Brad's been great about letting me crash at his place while I look for a new apartment. He has also been brutally honest about how messed up this whole situation was. "Dude," he said after I told him the whole story, "she was basically dating Derek while dating you. The sleepovers, the secret texting, the way she never let you meet him, the fact that he had opinions about your relationship, that is not friendship behavior. I think Brad's right. I think Ashley was having some kind of emotional affair with Derek the whole time, and the double standard about sleeping arrangements was just her way of making sure I couldn't do anything that might make her look hypocritical." Final update. It has been almost 2 years since my last update, and I wasn't planning to post again. But some recent developments have been too perfect not to share. Plus, I have been getting messages asking how everything turned out. First, let me update you on my life because it has been pretty great. I found a solid 1-bedroom apartment about 15 minutes from work, got promoted to senior accountant with a nice salary bump, and about 10 months ago I started dating someone new. Her name is Maria. She is 27, teaches high school math, and the difference between her and Ashley in terms of how we handle respect and boundaries is honestly night and day. When Maria has to stay late for parent-teacher conferences or school events, she texts me updates not because I require it, but because that is what people do when they care about each other's feelings. When I have overnight business trips or client dinners that run late, we communicate openly about schedules and expectations. It is amazing how simple relationships can be when both people are operating from the same rule book. But this update is really about Ashley and Derek, and honestly, watching the karma unfold has been more satisfying than I ever imagined it could be. About 8 months after Ashley and I broke up, I started hearing things through mutual friends and my sister Jessica. Apparently, Derek had started developing some very strong opinions about Ashley's other male friendships. You know, the same friendships that Ashley used to defend so passionately when we were dating. According to what Jessica heard from Ashley's friend Rachel, Derek told Ashley that her habit of sleeping over at other guys' places made him uncomfortable, and that if she really cared about their relationship, she would put some distance between herself and these other friends. When Ashley tried to use her old arguments, the whole "they are just friends, don't be insecure" routine, Derek apparently threw her exact words right back at her. If they are really just friends, then it shouldn't be a problem to stop sleeping over there, Derek told her, unless there is something going on that I should know about. The beautiful irony is that Ashley had absolutely no moral ground to stand on. How could she argue that male-female friendships were innocent when she had been emotionally and probably physically involved with Derek while dating me? Derek had learned by watching Ashley that relationships could have different rules for different people, and now he was applying that lesson against her. But the karma was just getting started. Last month, Jessica attended our mutual friend Sarah's wedding, and ended up sitting at a table with some of Ashley's former coworkers from the startup. Apparently, Ashley's behavior during our relationship had become a topic of office gossip after we broke up. People had started connecting the timeline of when she and Derek got together, and it had seriously affected her professional reputation. Her boss started questioning her judgment on some major campaigns. Jessica told me later there were concerns about her ability to maintain appropriate professional boundaries after the whole Ryan situation became common knowledge around the office. Apparently, clients had started requesting different account managers because they had heard about Ashley's personal drama affecting her work. She ended up leaving that job about 8 months ago and has been freelancing since then, which pays significantly less and provides no benefits or job security. But here is the absolute best part of this whole story. Derek has started doing exactly what Ashley used to do to me. He goes out with female friends from work, sometimes stays over at their places when he is too tired to drive home. And when Ashley gets upset about it, he uses her exact phrases against her. According to Jessica's sources, Derek tells Ashley things like she is just a friend. Don't be insecure, and we have known each other since college. It doesn't mean anything, and if you cannot trust me, that sounds like a you problem. Ashley has apparently become everything she used to accuse me of being: suspicious, anxious, and constantly worried about Derek's relationships with other women. She is trapped in a situation where she cannot complain about behavior that bothers her because she spent over a year defending that exact same behavior when she was the one doing it. Derek learned from watching Ashley that he could get away with having different standards for himself than he had for his partner. Now Ashley gets to live in the world that those lessons created. The best part is that Derek is apparently even worse than Ashley was. While Ashley at least tried to hide her phone when she was texting Derek inappropriately, Derek openly tells Ashley about his female friends and seems to enjoy making her uncomfortable about it. She is just jealous and possessive. Derek apparently told Ashley when she complained about him staying over at his coworker Lindsay's apartment. "I thought you said you weren't like other girls." Jessica also heard that Derek has started undermining Ashley's other relationships, just like she used to do with mine. He doesn't like her female friends, thinks her family is too involved in her life, and has been gradually isolating her from her support system. Last month, Ashley actually reached out to me through Instagram. She sent this long, rambling message about wanting closure and to clear the air about how things ended between us. The message was full of phrases like we were both young and made mistakes, and maybe we could be friends now that we have both grown, and I have learned a lot about myself and relationships. I showed the message to Maria, who read it and just shook her head. "She is not looking for closure," Maria said. "She is realizing that her current relationship is toxic, and she is wondering if the grass was greener with you." I didn't respond to Ashley's message. I don't owe my ex-girlfriend closure, especially when I am pretty sure the real reason she reached out was because Derek is treating her the way she used to treat me, and she is starting to realize what that feels like from the other side. Meanwhile, Maria and I are planning to move in together next month. She has never given me a reason to question her loyalty or respect, and I have never felt the need to monitor her friendships or worry about double standards. We are both excited about building something together based on mutual respect and consistent expectations. The difference between a healthy relationship and a toxic one really is that simple, mutual respect, consistent standards, and genuine care for each other's feelings. Ashley taught Derek that different rules could apply to different people in the same relationship. She showed him that you could dismiss your partner's concerns while expecting them to accept behavior they were uncomfortable with. She demonstrated that manipulation and gaslighting were acceptable tools for getting your way. Now she gets to live with the consequences of those lessons every single day. What Ashley didn't realize 2 years ago was that when you normalize double standards in relationships, you eventually become the victim of your own system. She created a blueprint for how to treat partners poorly, and Derek studied that blueprint very carefully.